You miss me? I miss all of y'all.
Hey, everybody.
Standing together like that, can't take it.
I would have taken Jimmy Buffett myself, but we'll deal with it. Nick, thank you very much for having us. Everyone else for the Digiday staff. To all you guys, congrats on upgrading your commute by about 40 degrees tomorrow morning. So A+ effort. So to kick off, I wanted to tell a little funny story. So about a month ago, I booked a great little family vacation connected to this trip. So I thought, it's about a month ago on my desktop, I bought a trip down to Key West. So head down to Key West, come here for a couple days, life was gonna be good. 2 weeks ago, I'm at a dinner party, little barbecue, and family member of mine, I'm sitting there talking about the trip, and I'm like, oh, I'm really fired up going out to Key West, gonna get some Blue Heaven cake, it's gonna be awesome. And he goes, yeah, you're gonna love Fantasy Fest. And I'm like, shit, I got a 19-month-old baby. So, fired up all within the course of about 4 hours on my mobile device. I pulled up my reservation, canceled the reservation, settled my wife down, and booked another trip to Captiva Island for the last 3 days. So, with that, thanks to TripAdvisor and a bunch of other guys who did it right, and thanks to Power Digital Media, got me out of a jam. So with that, cookies work in certain cases. They don't. They didn't help me specifically in my situation. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about the different ways in which we're able to identify consumers cross-device within the new path to purchase. And so a lot of this type of slide and content isn't anything that's new to anyone, certainly in this room, right? But some of these stats I do hope are a bit of an update for you guys. So. Mobile data usage year over year is up 69%. Certainly just puts a number to what we already know here. The average consumer, they now are activating or accessing content through the digital device in 3.3 different devices, right? So that could be 2 computers, one at home, one at office, a mobile device, a tablet, et cetera. And when you aggregate that up to the household level, that's 10 active devices for each individual household. And so when you start thinking through the different ways in which probabilistic partners help identify very specific consumers, that data point is certainly one of the challenges that they are overcoming. 90% of purchases made are on multiple devices or in different places. So that's a direct representation of the time shifting and place shifting that's taking place across the board. So for me, I was able to do the majority of my work on a car ride home and in the backyard of a barbecue, right? And so that's something that never could have been done before. And that 90% number, that's whether that starts on a mobile device, goes to a desktop, whether that be go to in-store, et cetera. With that, it's only natural that consumers would expect a very seamless consumer experience across all those different devices. In fact, we expect that. It's annoying if they don't have that, right? And we've all been in that position before, where you just keep on banging your mobile device trying to get to the mobile browser because you wish that they had a better user experience. And if you get that right, the good news, and there's folks with lots of different examples of this, but that they will spend more with you. So on average, these consumers are spending 15 to 20% more. And so that's very, very powerful for all of us to think about. And again, it's what we know, some good data points for everyone to take home. So this slide here, something that we've all seen, right? In fact, I would say that the majority of your partner presentations over the last, 5 years, right, have all had some sort of version of this slide, right? It's what everybody's talking about, right? And it's all about how do you leverage, whether it be some sort of first-party data, third-party data, et cetera. But the opportunity in doing it right is that you're able to leverage a consumer experience like this, identifying consumers and engaging them when it's contextually right for them, right? So choosing very specific devices, very specific channels during a morning commute, you would treat very differently than how you might want to engage someone in the evening, right? And so, again, not new, right? But really complicated and challenging to do. There's lots of versions and different ways of doing that, right? And so as you think through the different ways in which that can happen, right, that very easy concept for all to understand, we break it down into 3 different ways. And I'll set the stage by saying that as part of eBay, right, we've been focused on this for the last 5 to 6 years in different forms and different ways. We leverage first-party data. We leverage third-party data when it's necessary for customers. We are leveraging different identification techniques, right? So we're very well versed in understanding how the ecosystem is built. And so as we think through this and how we think through it, is that there's 3 ways in which you can cross-device or target folks. One is identifying people through user authentication, right? So this could be, as an example, you represent Nordstrom, right? Nordstrom, user shows up on that site, you identify who that consumer is. You've also seen that very specific consumer on the mobile app, right? And you know that because they've logged in to both places, right? And so that's a great way of identifying consumers through multiple devices, so long as they've logged in at least once during, through each of those devices, right? Great solution for owned and operated channels that you might have access to, but ultimately that's going to be limited to your own customers because you need to know something about them in order to reach them, right? Second would be the walled gardens, right? And so this is where the folks like eBay come in a mix, right? This is where Facebook, this is where the LinkedIns of the world, this is where first-party folks are leveraging their own first-party data within their own walled gardens. And the reason why they're walled isn't because there's not business reasons to support, isn't solely for business reasons, it's because of privacy, right? For in the case of eBay, the reason I would love as part of Trading Desk to be able to offer up different ways in which to get access to the eBay data. Unfortunately, we have privacy policies with opt-in and opt-out that can't be managed by more than one group. So within this walled garden, these massive media companies, right, or commerce companies, in the case of eBay, right, enabling you to reach with high accuracy, target those people with login credential, right? So this enables you guys the very highest accuracy and scale. The downside, and you can measure the importance and how large the downside is, it's all about the analytics will come back to you in aggregate, right? So for some, that's a detriment, right? But they deliver you a lot of analytics that you can then leverage through other third-party and through your own specific channels, which would then be identified through device fingerprinting, right? So the device fingerprinting, right, this was technology that was built about 10 years ago as an answer to mobile not having proper use of cookies, right? Today, device fingerprinting is still a wonderful technique to identify in a probabilistic manner, right, how to, who people are across devices. So as an example, if your mobile device has a very specific ID associated with it, your desktop has a cookie that would be associated with it, and they all connect to your house network at some point in time through an IP, and there's ways to triangulate how to identify those very specific folks. Now, within that, there's challenges. It's not 100% accurate, right? But the benefit that you do get is that you get the most scale because you can leverage third-party data, you can leverage device grabs, whether it be through like a tap ad or someone like that, or one of the other few folks that are out there to actually reach those folks and do it with great scale with, as they would say, anywhere from 96 to 97% accuracy, but it's still an educated guess. And so through those different channels, the key thing throughout that I ask everyone and all of my core partners to think about is when you're talking about first-party data, there's probably hasn't been, just same time as you guys haven't seen the same pitch every single time coming through, you've probably also have seen every single meeting now has first-party data. Everybody's got first-party data, right? So because that's what, if you come in and you say, I got third-party data, that's not going to be that exciting, right? So within this, first-party data is very unique in the sense that you could have first-party data, a unique known piece of information about a specific consumer, right? Great. Well, how are you identifying who those people are, right? How do you know for certain that that's who it is? So first-party identity and first-party data, extremely important. There's a big distinction between first-party insights. So lots of companies that say they have first-party data are pulling together lots of third-party data and then saying that then they're delivering first-party insight based on that very specific information. That's very different than a lot of folks who are leveraging both first-party identity, first-party data, and first-party analytics. And so within that, you can see just the image that's here shows that you've got folks who have scalable data. typically are not leveraging owned and operated channels, don't have the unique login credential, right? Those who have identity normally don't have the scale. And so there's a very few folks that are in that really sweet spot that can truly help to, in this case here, identify who Jim is, and with 100% accuracy based on some very specific insight and intelligence that we have. And so what this means for us, right? And as eBay builds, has a number of great partnerships with folks, and we manage campaigns for folks, whether that be through awareness, mid-funnel, all the way down through retargeting, all leveraging one specific ID. As we think through delivering strategy and recommendations to folks, how we look at it is you take care of your core first, right? So this is your CRM file, right? This is understanding your owned and operated channels, so leveraging retargeting, right? Maxing that out, maxing out push notifications, email, et cetera. Being smart about it. For those, there's lots of email abuse, right? So at some point, you got to push away from email and go to display. Not very intrusive, right? It's a great tactic. As you've maxed that out, the next place to look to are your first-party providers, right? Your deterministic guys, right, versus your probabilistic. Focus deterministic, why? Because there you can leverage, again, your CRM file that your clients might have, right, to then build lookalikes, to leverage the first-party knowledge, first-party identity that they have on these consumers, matching with your own to build very unique insights that can be scalable, right, across different partners. You can synchronize that intelligence across all of these first-party guys because you know who your customers are, you know who your prospects are. They can help you do that. And then lastly, in an effort to deliver efficiency and scale, right, which first-party, eBay's not going to be the only partner, obviously, that you're going to work with, right? We're all managing balanced portfolios and as a media strategy, right? You're leveraging probabilistic guys, the guys who are really great at guessing with a very high probability who these folks are and have some sort of unique insight as a means to either drive down your working media costs, right, or your ECPM, or increasing overall scale. And the most important piece of all of it is that as you look through these different three, you're able to take the insights within the first-party programs that you do and your own CRM, and you can apply that to third-party. We do that. We recommend that all the time. And so, really powerful strategy, and this is how we think about it. And so, with that, I'll turn it over for questions that anybody has, and just want to say thank you again.
Thanks, Scott. Anybody have any questions? No? I have a very quick one.
Sure.
I'm curious about sort of what you're hearing from agencies in terms of their biggest challenge when it comes to this stuff. Like, what are they really running up against that's tough?
It's understanding the nuances. If you look at different audience segments, right, it's really hard to understand the difference between the 25 different vendors and partners, and they all have the same exact name for the different audiences, and trying to understand, like, seriously, like, I don't, what's the source?
Okay.
Right, what is the actual source, and how does this fit into everything else that I'm doing within that?
Okay, cool. Well, Scott, thank you so much. I know you're going to be around for people to chat with later today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So,
Great.
Spirit of the Islands, see you. We'll talk soon. Bye.